Hello, the kindergarten Common Core standard that I chose is CCSS Math Content KOAA1, where we represent addition and subtraction with objects, fingers, mental images, drawings, sounds like clapping, acting out situations, verbal explanations, expressions, or equations. The materials that we need in this lesson are markers, crayons, fingers, paper, fruit, blocks, and a worksheet. The objective is for students to be able to represent addition and subtraction with objects, fingers, sounds, verbal explanations, or equations. To engage the students, the teacher can do a demonstration using apples, oranges, grapes, or whatever manipulative they want. In my case, I'm using tomatoes. What they would do is place a certain number of that manipulative on a projector and ask the students how many objects are on display. In my case, there are 2 tomatoes on display. Once the students answer correctly, the teacher can either add or take away a certain number of manipulatives and ask the students again how many objects are on display. So in my case, if I add 1 tomato to the 2, how many tomatoes do I have in total? We have 3 tomatoes in total. What happens if I take away 2 tomatoes? We have 1 tomato left. The teacher should also ask the students if they are adding or subtracting the manipulatives. So in the first scenario, I added a tomato. In the second scenario, I subtracted 2 tomatoes. Before the main activity begins, it's best to let the students explore with the manipulatives, as it is easy for them to get distracted, especially if they're manipulatives that they've never played with before. To start the activity, the teacher will have 1 addition problem and 1 subtraction problem written or displayed on the board. They will explain that addition is when you put things together and add to them, while subtraction is when you take things apart and take from them. With the addition problem, the teacher will use many manipulatives to represent the problem. The addition equation will be displayed on the board, and a question the teacher can ask their students is what the symbols, addition sign and equal sign, mean. This is a great opportunity to introduce the students to how to write an equation, how to read an equation, and clear up any confusion the students might have. The teacher should establish/reinforce the sounds attributed to addition and subtraction. Click for addition, and boom for subtraction. The teacher can start off using their fingers to help them solve the problem, and they can ask their students why fingers are such useful tools. So, this problem asks us to start off with 3 fingers and add 2 fingers. So when we add 2 fingers, click, we are left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. So the sum of 3 and 2 is 5. We can use blocks as another manipulative. Starting off with 3 blocks, the problem asks us to add 2 more blocks. So if we clicked 2 more blocks to the 3 that we started off with, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Before demonstrating a new manipulative, the teacher could ask the students how they would use the manipulative themselves. This can be a form of guided practice and a good way to check to see if the students are understanding the way addition works. Once the addition problem is exhausted, the teacher can move on to the subtraction problem and repeat the process. After the teacher is done demonstrating, the students will be given a worksheet with different addition and subtraction problems. They should be able to identify which problems require them to add or subtract based on the signs. If they want, they can circle the signs and write add or subtract underneath them to show that they understand. The students should use all the manipulatives they have learned to use to help them solve each problem. The teacher should walk around and ask the students questions such as, how do you use the blocks in this problem? If they have completed the worksheet early, then they can create their own problems, write them down on a piece of paper, and solve them using the different manipulatives. Students can even share the problems they created with one another. To evaluate the students, they will be placed into groups and given 1 addition or subtraction problem. As a group, they have to solve the problem using at least 2 different manipulatives. It is required that they use the click or boom sound when they go up and solve their problem. They will create a poster using printer paper and markers or crayons. They can be as creative as they want. If they want to draw pictures to demonstrate adding or subtracting, they are welcome to do so. If they want to trace their hands on the paper and show how they would add with their fingers, that is welcome too. The point is to see how well they are able to use their resources and if they understand how to use them correctly. Once they are done creating their posters, they will present them to the class. Once their presentation is over, the teacher will ask the audience if they agree with their answer. If they don't, they will have to explain why they don't agree. After discussions are over, the teacher will say whether or not the group presenting came up with the correct answer. If they did, then they are able to sit down. If they didn't and no one caught the mistake, then the teacher will explain why the answer is incorrect and demonstrate the correct answer. If a student did catch the mistake, then they will then explain how to solve the problem correctly.